The Jesster Radio Podcast.
Jesster Radio, what's up, guys? Got someone with the biggest calves in the fitness industry. Maybe I can actually add quads to that as well. Steph, bro, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Jess. I'm excited, bro.
Bro,
Excited.
your legs. I mean, what do you do to those things to get them the way they are?
I've got.
You torture them. You
some-
must.
Funnily enough, I don't. I've actually taken a more of a less is more approach to my legs, to be dead honest. They tend to kind of expand at an exponential rate if I do train them. So I've actually started leaving them alone for months at a time, and then I go through phases of really abusing them, and then again it's been probably the first 4 months of lockdown. We didn't touch the legs at all, only just started training them again.
And your training now is also a lot more strength based, and less reps, or because obviously I see in your stories, and I'm sure other people have as well, is you're going super heavy. How is that different to your previous style of training?
So I'm very big into volume training. I mean, I love to spend 2 hours in the gym doing sets of 50s and sets of 30s and sets of 100s. And obviously, up to a point, it's worked for me. And I've just been basically abused over the last 3 months by coach.
Okay.
And he's just said that we need to work on thickness. There's no point in chasing big goals if I'm not ready physically. And my biggest issue personally is whether I see myself ready to stand on a stage or not. It's not about whether I am or not.
Yeah.
So the more and more I've repetitively heard, I need to get thicker, I need to get bigger, I need to get this, I need to get that. My training has always been condition based. Now, obviously, I've had to challenge myself to try this get big, approach of. I mean, we're working in sets of 3s and sets of 1s and sets of 5s, which is so abstract compared to what I would normally be working in.
But also that's good for your body, just in general. The change in stimulus is going to obviously bring
absolutely.
about positive change.
Absolutely.
And obviously your strengths increase there.
Well, I've been working now with a strength coach, Tim O'Shea, for the past 4 weeks. Bench has gone up by 40 kilos, squats gone up by 60 kilos, and deadlifts, but we're working on a hex bar, we're not working on a straight bar whatsoever, has gone up by 80 kilos.
Sure, that's a lot.
Over a 4-week
Yeah.
or 5-week period now.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, that's
it's
also
huge.
something that, you call him coach. That's something as coaches we need to understand is you're not above getting a coach.
No, not at all. I've been coached from day one in the industry. I mean, for me personally, if you are a coach, surely you believe in the service. And if you don't, do you really believe in yourself?
Yeah.
Why are you not being coached? You can't turn around and tell me you know everything.
Of course.
Every single coach brings something new to the table.
Yeah.
I'm currently working with 2 coaches. I've got, obviously, Warren Khamrase is the mad scientist on the aesthetics side of things, but he's not a strength coach. He's not a weightlifting coach. So I work with Tim O'Shea specifically on strength and weight training.
And them two working with you, are they working kind of together and collaborating on it?
They
or?
are. So they've actually known each other for about 30 years.
Okay.
So, sorry, Warren, giving your age away there. But
Well, the photos, Warren doesn't look old, let's be real.
No, the man has found the anti-aging cure. They collaborate quite well. They've got a very good understanding of how each other work. So, Warren on the diet and the gear and the supplement side of things, and then I've got Tim working on the strength and making sure that we'll take full advantage of whatever Warren's doing on the back end.
Yeah. And you also have in terms of you coaching your athletes, have a certain way of training people, and Warren has a certain way of training his athletes and training you. Has there been times where again, it's not nice, but maybe possibly you've thought, maybe Warren doesn't know what he's talking about, but then you trust him and then you realize that, there's many ways to skin a cat.
Absolutely. Warren and myself bump heads very frequently with regards to theories on a gear protocol or a diet plan, or am I eating, or am I upping my calories, am I upping my carbs or dropping my carbs around? Last year, Warren and myself bumped heads so badly that we only started communicating properly 4 weeks out of Muscle Militia.
Okay.
prior to that, it had been this like back and forth. Am I in the right place? Is he the right coach? Do we agree? So we've had many a time where we've bumped heads, and obviously my own coaching personality versus his coaching personality, they clash.
Yeah.
But that's not to say, that his way is right and mine's wrong. As you said, there's many ways to skin that cat.
Yeah. And you say your personalities clash. What's the differences with that? How would you coach compared to how he would?
Warren is very, very, very meticulous. So Warren's plans, for me at least, my experience has been things are one way or the highway. That's how he coaches, and that's what I need as an athlete. I can't be coached by someone like myself, because I tend to be lenient, and I will figure a way to make your plan suit you better, rather than you just get to the fucking grind and follow the plan.
Yeah, but that also opens you up to people in a lifestyle perspective. And obviously
100%.
Warren will work with those people, and he does. But I think it could limit him. But also, those people are the correct people for him.
100%.
Everyone has a coach that will suit their needs best.
Absolutely. No, look, I mean, just because you're a lifestyle client doesn't mean you don't like a straight down the line plan.
Yeah.
I've got clients who I don't even speak to for 2 months at a time. All they want is a diet and a training plan, and they don't speak to me.
Yeah.
And those are lifestyle clients. Never mind athletes who actually know what they're doing.
Yeah. You have always got into crazy condition, and you always seem to always have abs. Is that more of a genetic thing? Or I remember I saw a post, I don't know, I think it was a while ago, where you said you did abs a lot at a stage, and that kind of conditioning is kind of maintained regardless of your body fat, because there are people that keep their abs even if their body fat's higher.
I think I'm quite lucky genetically speaking. I mean, I go through phases of, I won't even look at a diet meal for 2 months at a time. My metabolic rate, or my basal metabolism, is like a freight train, which is great.
Yeah.
But also not so much, because I'm stuck at 100 kilos. If I want to put on weight, I'm looking at 6,500 calories a day.
Yeah.
And you're trying to eat that
clean, especially, is just difficult.
It's
unless you
ridiculous.
Cebu.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Then you get it in a meal.
Yeah. So you now, obviously, I mean, no shows are going to happen. What's your plans going forward?
Well, right now it's about getting thick. So we've put all show plans aside. We were actually going to look at doing Muscle Militia, and then carry that through to December. I'd been invited to the Amateur Olympia in Vegas.
Okay.
Which was actually going to be really cool, fully sponsored, but obviously no traveling and can't really qualify now, so we're stuck. So we're going to have to renegotiate with the sponsors, see whether they look willing to put that cash into 2021. If they're not, then we start again.
Yeah. You obviously have tried some crazy things to get in the best conditioning. What things have you done that you kind of look back to and be like, maybe I shouldn't have done that? Not for maybe for my personal health, maybe for, other reasons.
Yeah, look, at one point my whole mindset was, I don't care if they bury me as long as it's in a big box.
Yeah.
Things have changed drastically since having a lighty. However, we do push the limit. There's no way around that. And if you aren't willing to push the limit, are you really in the right sport?
Yeah.
Stupidest thing I think I've done is overdose diuretics. I mean, we had to drop 9 kilos in 2 days to make weigh-in for the Big Man Classic last year, and I think we hit about I can't even remember doses, but I spent about 6 hours throwing up. Yeah, it was messy.
Was that before the show or after the show? When was
before
that?
the show? The night before.
Was
the
that
show.
helping? So it was basically an overdose, and you just was it diarrhea as well? Or was it just throwing up?
It was throwing up. I mean, I was literally. I think I must have pissed about 3 liters of water when I didn't drink. I'd not taken in any liquid from, I think it was 7 a.m. the day before the show.
Yeah.
That evening we loaded on the diuretics, and I was forced to drink because I'd actually thrown up so much, and we actually ended up weighing in at about 0.8.
Yeah. and the rebound afterwards?
I don't suffer with the rebound.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very lucky when it comes to. I mean, even off season, I barely carry much water on the surface, but I carry tons of water internally.
Yeah.
So when I do play with diuretics, I can change my weight by about 6-7 kilos, or 9 kilos if it has to be done.
Yeah, well, I remember your posing as well at Big Man and Muscle Militia was, obviously you could see it was meticulously thought out. And is that something that because a lot of athletes, myself included, don't really practice our posing up until the show, which you should. I mean, maybe I'll practice 3 or 4 times before the show. You obviously did that a lot more.
No, yeah. Look, I live for posing. Like the art of bodybuilding, the science behind it. That's more my background. I mean, I studied 7 years. I studied chiropractic. Not because I wanted to be a chiropractor. It was because I wanted to understand the human body. And through that, obviously, the love for human mechanics and biomechanics filtered into posing. I want to learn how to express myself through that art rather than just a flex here and there. That's not what it's about for me.
Is that why you also chose classic?
Yeah, well, no, not really. I actually wanted to be a grotesquely huge bodybuilder. It just turned out that wasn't in my cards.
You just can't eat that. You just
I
can't
can't eat that much, bro. Yeah.
But also, what's nice about classic is you have almost the freedom of portraying yourself in an art form. Obviously, in bodybuilding, that like Kai Green, I think he does that as well. But in classic, it just seems like you have slightly more freedom.
You've got more freedom. I mean, even in your strict posing, you can blur the boundaries. Whereas bodybuilding, front double bicep, side chest, they are strict poses.
Yeah.
Whereas a little bit of a hip tilt, a little bit of a shoulder tilt in classic, I love that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you clearly have a fast metabolism. After Big Man, I think it was like a week later, you did another show. And I mean, I remember you were just eating throughout the week, and you still were able to do another show. I mean, I know I put on 10 kilograms by the following weekend.
I picked up 14 kilos.
Yeah.
So I stood on stage at 86.
But you were thick.
For Big Man, and we stood on stage at 102.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
And then you won that show as well.
Yeah, it was fun.
And you now mainly classic, but what other categories have you done and dabbled with?
So I started as a bodybuilder. I think my first show was the Rossi Grand Prix. And
like
we
the
did
one in Pretoria.
Yeah,
I think I did that one.
We did the same show.
Yes.
Yes, funny enough, everyone did that bloody show, man. And I did bodybuilding at that show. We won that. That was Warren and myself's first show together. We prepped in 8 days, which was interesting. Sure. Yeah. And look, since then, I've really kind of struggled to fit in. My physique, I kind of sit between a bodybuilder and a classic physique athlete. I don't really think I fit into either category. So I've had a lot of, well-trained and experienced guys come to me and ask me if I want to do 212. I think I'm just too tall.
Yeah.
And I'm far too small to be a
in South
heavyweight.
Africa, can you do that?
No, I'd have to do it internationally. But I mean, even for a heavyweight bodybuilder, I'm just too small.
Yeah.
I can't carry that mass. So we're now trying to see if we can fit into that category. And I mean, at the end of the day, if we can get to a pro level, I mean, I my weight category jumps by about 7 kilos.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah. Now having a kid, how has that changed your perspective on things?
Oh, it's crazy, man. Like I said, I mean, previously I didn't care what it was. I would do whatever it took to get where I wanted to get. Now, before every shot, you're kind of thinking to yourself, if looking at an insulin needle going, do I really want to do this? It put a bit more fear into the sport for me. As I said, prior to this, I just didn't care. It was about an ultimate result. Now it's the fear of shit. What if something goes wrong? Who's going to be there for Michael? Who's going to look after him? So it's a big game changer. But I wouldn't change it for the world, man.
And you were on gear obviously when you had him, or when you fell pregnant.
Well, I was actually on a ridiculous cycle. I can't even remember who was guiding me at that point, and it was. I think I'd lost my mind a little bit. It was gigantic, man. It was a scary cycle. Actually, post that, before we knew that Taryn was pregnant, I mean, I actually decided to stop because it had really bugged my mindset so much that I was like, I'm done with this. No more bodybuilding. No more gear. I'm out of this. And then 4 weeks later, had Taryn craving jelly tots, which was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, we need to get something to pee on here.
And you now having a kid, would you want another one? Would you?
Look, I'll be honest. I love kids. Like I before Michael, I didn't think I wanted kids.
Yeah.
And changed my perception massively. But whether I'm ready or not, that's another question.
And I've heard many stories of people that they went off juice, PCT'd and everything, and they tried to have kids and they couldn't. Then they went back on, and then they were able to have kids.
Yeah, well, I think I know personally of about 6 people who it's happened to.
Yeah.
Being told, look, you're never going to have kids, it's not going to happen for you by urologists, and then next minute out pops little blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid.
Yeah, there's a gorgeous little Charlie back there. Naughty as hell, I'm sure.
Oh, dude, you have no idea.
But those are the special ones. The naughty ones are the special ones.
Yeah, well, it's revenge.
Yeah,
it's revenge.
It is. It's a little bit of it's karma coming back for what you did to your parents and what you did growing up.
My parents just look at me and laugh constantly, bro, because he's naughty.
And how is it with a child? And because you can't give kids diets, especially the age that Michael is. How have you've obviously never thought like this kid needs to be on a diet.
No, not
but
at all.
How have you tried to incorporate healthy aspects into the way he eats? And then
look, I mean, Taryn's his mom, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, I don't think there's a better dietetic, tactician in this industry than Taryn.
Okay.
So I mean, currently he's stuck in Zim. I don't know if you know that, but he's been there. He's been there for 5 months, and video call with him every day at lunch, and it's chicken, beef, potatoes, a little bit of dairy. Yeah. So 100% there's some thought process going into what he's eating, but it's
also, it's not someone's going to listen to this and be like, you
no ways, bro.
You're not letting that kid
he gets
experience.
A chocolate. He gets a chocolate if he sleeps in the afternoon. He's a kid. He needs to be a kid.
And that's also something I've experienced, because Sasha's sister has a child, and seeing them eat these sweets all the time, you kind of think like, maybe they shouldn't be eating these sweets. But then there's also the level of, their kids, let them have sweets.
100%.
So it's a difficult,
The balance is crazy, man, because at the same time as you don't want to be too harsh, you also don't want your kid getting diabetes and being overweight and being obese. At the end of the day, that's going to be more detrimental to you being a little bit strict on what they eat, in my opinion. 100%. But like I said, I think, balance is key.
Yeah, completely agree. And then also you look at parents, and they are the ones to blame for these kids that are super overweight 100%. And obese.
Look, I mean, Michael's a gannet, eh? That kid eats.
Okay, yeah.
I promise you.
But he's also, I'm sure, because he's expending calories, he's just running around the place all the
45 minutes on a phone call with him, bro. He'll eat the whole 45 minutes. Bro.
Yeah, I see. That's special for a kid that can actually, pay attention to that, but, still be so busy. And
he's very intelligent, bro.
Yeah.
Like, blessed.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you now, with your online training, I don't want to say your ideal clients, but who do you prefer working with best? Obviously, you love changing people's lives, but if you had to choose one person, would it be someone that is going to do a competition, or someone that is maybe super overweight, or someone that's anorexic? Or
look, I like a challenge. Getting someone in your condition to come to me and get them on stage, I don't see it as a challenge.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I mean, shit, when I see someone up on stage, it doesn't matter whether they came from 12 kilos overweight or 12 kilos underweight to what they look like. It's spectacular for me. But I like to work with someone who's got massive goals and no idea how to get there. That for me is the ideal. Yeah.
Well, goals should be something that actually people look at you and be like, I don't think you're going to achieve that. And then you know that, your goals are on. Yeah, exactly. How many clients have you changed for the better? Because obviously you get clients that come to you, and, you give them your everything, and then it's their own fault actually that they don't change, and they just need to follow it. And it's a balance between knowing like, I've actually changed this person's life, or I just helped them look better, and then they rebounded afterwards.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I think it's a bit of a difficult question.
Yeah, no, it is. No, not like the number, but have you truly seen, because obviously I've experienced with myself people that have built a healthy lifestyle through me coaching them, and then there's people that followed it out for 12 weeks, looked amazing, put on all the weight afterwards. Yeah,
look, it happens, but probably for me to see a tangible difference is probably like 10%.
Yeah.
It's a very low number. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of guys come and go. I mean, I've got clients that I've worked with for 5 years who literally go through seasons. They'll do 12 weeks of this phenomenal diet training in the gym with me 3 times a week. And then for 6 months, they will just put everything, start back at square one again.
Yeah, and it's difficult to, even for ourselves, let's be real, we on stage, we get super conditioned, and we do have these little relapse type things where you put on 12, 14 kilograms, and you don't, I mean, I've had interactions with people that be like, did you get your wisdoms out? I'll be like, no, actually, I just put on a lot of water weight after the show. So we ourselves as coaches and as athletes do it, and that's why it's understandable that other people do it as well.
Well, that's it. You've got to be understanding, and if you're not, again, are you really in the right industry? You know, I mean, a client is only as, or their experience is only as fruitful as the experience you give them. So at the end of the day, if someone goes off track, I'm not going to turn around and read them the riot act.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell them that I'm disappointed. I'm upset for them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're paying me a lot of money, and you're literally throwing it down the toilet.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, and that's also a difficult balance to find is, positive reinforcement, belittling them, saying, you should have just followed your diet, come on, there's a balance.
Look, I'm not a big believer in breaking anyone down. Like to see the way people in this industry treat each other is disgusting to me.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a big mouth on me, but you'll never ever see me break someone else down, especially in a public forum. I think it's pathetic.
Yeah, and that's what social media has become. It's become a voice for people it's become a voice for people that previously, if they're looking you in the face, they're not going to be saying the same things.
100%.
And I'm sure you've experienced a lot of that everyone has actually in the industry, and it's something that's I don't think it's ever going to change.
No, you wishful thinking.
Yeah. So your steps going forward with competing, obviously you say you want to hopefully get into that space where you can kind of fit into a category better. But I mean, if you look at how you looked at Muscle Militia and Big Man, you kind of actually look perfect for classic.
Yeah, look, I like my look. I mean, if I didn't, I'd be wasting my time.
What's your waist? It's like 28, I'm sure.
Well, I wear 28 jeans and they're loose.
Yeah.
So, but I think the catch is just like I said. I mean, I've just got to develop my thickness, bro. I mean, when I turn sideways, I kind of disappear into a crack on the back of the stage.
Except for your quads.
Yeah, well, it looks like reverse SpongeBob. So, I mean, I think we've put on 7 kilos now. So I'm excited to see what the changes are going to be when we do finally uncover what we're building. But like I said, the challenge, it's not going to end there. Then we've got the next level and then the next level.
I think it's nice that you say we all the time, because bodybuilding is a selfish sport, but you're working with a team.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I've got a massive team around me. I've got people helping with my food. I've got people who help with my supplements. I mean, Evolve has literally just picked me up again as an athlete.
Yeah, because you were with them about 3 or 4 years ago or something.
They started my career. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I would have been nowhere. They had the belief in me, 5 years ago to back me. And now finally, hopefully I can bring something back to the brand.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Speaking of, brands and brand hopping, I'm sure you've seen a lot of that in this industry, and it can be detrimental to some people's personal brands for just jumping around.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, what do you believe in?
Yeah. It's just getting free stuff.
Are you there because you really believe in the product, or are you there because they're offering you something?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if that's the reason, you're wasting your time.
Yeah. Well, myself personally, I've been sponsored by Evox, and then this was what it was difficult for me because Evox and SSN were the same company, and then Evox said we prefer you to go over to SSN, and I was like, I kind of don't want to, because then people are going to think I'm brand hopping.
100%.
And it was a difficult situation, so I made a post was saying still under the same family, just moving over to SSN, because I wanted people to understand